Hello everyone, my name is Havish Madhvapati. Welcome to the second video in a series of 100 videos where I teach you how to create consulting charts. In this video, we will have a look at the classic McKinsey waffle chart, and I'm going to teach you how to recreate it on Microsoft Excel. So we have the Excel file here with us. I've taken a screenshot as the sample. The first thing that we would like to do is to create a grid with 100 boxes in it. So I'm going to select 10 columns and 10 rows, and we want to move the width a little bit. Now this might require a little bit of trial and error to get it right. To be more precise with the pixels that you want to allocate, you can go to format, and we have both the row height and the column width option. So in the row height, I want to take a number, let us say 20. And then in the column width, let's say we take 15. That's probably a bit too much. So let's go to format and reduce the column width to about 4. And that seems about right. Waffle charts typically are squares, but you can also make them into a rectangle. But generally, when you make it into a rectangle, we would use it as a heat map or a color scale. So the classic way of using the waffle chart is to have a perfect square with you. The next thing I want to do is to remove all the grid lines from the Excel sheet. So we go to view and we remove the grid lines. And now let us say there is a color in the cells. So for a placeholder, we are going to keep a gray color just so that we know that these are the 10 cells that we have, or rather the 10 rows and the 10 columns that we have. If you also want to be sure that you are making a perfect square, another tip would be to go to insert shapes, and when you create a rectangle, press the shift button, and when you do that, it will create a perfect square for you. So this way you can use it as a reference point. And as you can see, now I have an idea that I might need to change the height and the width a little bit. So let's do that. I'm going to select the 10 columns. And when we go to format and column width, we might want to make it a little larger. So let's try 4.1. But the problem is that when you do that, the square also changes automatically. So let's undo it. First, we want to right click on the square, go to size and properties, and we want to ensure that in the properties section, we want to neither move nor size it with the cells. So this way, when I again go back and select the 10 columns, we go to format and select column width and we make it 4.1. This time you notice that the size of the square remains intact. So as you're increasing the column width, the square doesn't change. We will do the same thing with the rows as well. So I'm going to select 10 rows, go to format and row height. Let's select 22, maybe a little bit more. So one more time, row height and 23. And that seems about right. We can remove the square, select all the cells, and let's add a gray color. We can remove the color later if you want. Now we go to view and remove the grid lines. Now we would like to apply conditional formatting. So what I would like to do here is to have a cell in which there is a drop-down validation. So we go to data and select data validation. And we want to let the user enter any number. So any whole number between 1 all the way till 100. Now this way the user cannot enter a number higher than that. So that would be one way of doing this. The other way is to go to data validation and create a list of values. Now in this case, I don't want to write 1 all the way till 100. So what I would like to do here is to just go to, let us say, the last column of my worksheet. Or if you would like to be cleaner, you can even do it in a different sheet. For the moment, I'm just writing sequence 100. So this way we have a series of numbers from 1 to 100. The first cell is XFD2. So we will come back, add a drop-down validation. And the list source is equal to XFD2 followed by a hash. You can even do it the old-fashioned way without an array formula. So you can select all the cells manually, but I'm going to do it this way. As you can see, we have a list of numbers all the way from 1 to 100. So let us say we have selected 5. What I would like to do is to start from the bottom left corner and ensure that if I select 5, then 5 of these boxes are highlighted. But think about it. How are we going to do that? To do this, we need to have some numbers in the cell. That means I'm going to write equal to sequence 10. So we get 1 to 10 in a column. But since we want this to come in a row, let's call it transpose of sequence. So we get 1 to 10. In this, we can simply come to the last cell and press 1, or rather add 1. One more time, we go to transpose, and now we say sequence, and that gives us 1 to 11, but that's not really what we want. So now I want to tell it that in sequence, the number of rows that I want would be nothing. So if we keep it simple from the beginning, I can say sequence, and rather than having to use a transpose, we can skip the rows part and make it 10. So that would be for the column. Once we have done that, in the next one, we will again write sequence. I will skip the row. There would be 10 column, but the starting number would be K11 plus 1, which means we want to start with 11 and go up all the way till 20. So this gives us till 20. And now if I copy it, this is a quick way of getting numbers from 1 all the way till 100. Of course, you can do it manually, or maybe you can find a faster way or a single formula that can do it for you. But I think this is the right balance where it's not completely manual, but at the same time, it is not so complicated that it is difficult for you to manage. So now that we have the numbers, we simply want to select the entire range of the 100 cells, go to home and conditional formatting, and we want to create a condition. So we want to create a highlight that whenever the value is less than, now we don't want to give a number manually, we want to select the cell that we have here and do an OK. So as you can see, it highlights the first 4. Let's go back to conditional formatting and manage rules. So this is the rule that we have. Let's edit it. Now, first thing we want to do is to use less than or equal to, obviously, because we want to ensure that the number 5 gets included as well. Apply, and now we get 5 cells that are highlighted. And as you change the drop down, you will notice the cells get highlighted like this. So we are getting there. What is left for us to do is to go back to conditional formatting and manage rows. We want to edit, and we don't want a red color. We would like the fill color to be jet black, just like McKinsey. So this way all the cells become black. Now we can select all the cells, and if we right click and go to format cells, we can go to custom and in the type put 3 semicolons. What that does is it literally hides all the values from the cell. Remember, the cells still have the value in it, so if you double click, you see that there is a value in the cell, and that you can see in the formula bar, the formula that we have written. But because we have put 3 semicolons, it is hidden from the user. Finally, we would like to select all the 100 cells, go to border, and I would like to change the line color to white. One more time, go to border, and then change the line style into a slightly thicker line. And finally, we now want to apply all borders. So as you can see, this creates that effect that we were getting in the McKinsey chart, and it's very cool. So now I can change 29 to 76, and then 76 of these get highlighted. If I change it to 23, then 23 of these get highlighted. What about the number that is coming in this big, bold KPI? Of course, you can write a number and increase the font size, but that's going to mess around with the width of the columns. So imagine if we write equal to M2 here, you see the point, right? Because there are 10 cells, this will not come in the center. And if you increase the font size to 40, it doesn't really make sense. So we need a smarter way of doing this. What I would like shape could be any shape that you want. I'm going to select a rectangle, and this comes right in the center of all the 10 columns. Now, after we select the rectangle, we go to the formula bar, put in an equal to sign, and then select the cell M2. What this does is it connects the shape text with that cell. Now we can apply formatting. So we can align it in the middle and in the center. We can also make it bigger. Now we don't really need the shape anymore, so we can go to shape format, shape fill, and then change it to white color. And then also in the outline, we want to remove the outline. And here we go. We have the McKinsey waffle chart. The user can change the number either from the drop down, or it could be automatically extracted from a formula that we have created on another sheet. It could be derived from another calculation. But as that number changes, like in this case, if this becomes 29, the number here changes as well, and the waffle chart changes as well. I'm just going to make this a little larger. Let's keep it at 70. And here you go. We have almost perfectly recreated the McKinsey waffle chart.